It's me. Hey. I noticed you looked really upset when you came home, so I just wanted to check in with you. Problem with a friend, huh? What's going on? They claim you're not being a very good friend? What's their reason for that? They claim that the communication between you two is falling apart. What about it is falling apart, or where's all that coming from? Keeping your distance from them because of their hot-headed tendencies. That seems reasonable. What do they do that's hot-headed? So they get into a lot of arguments with others claiming to be a professional arguer. Do they allow others to share their points and consider them during the conversation? So they tend to interrupt others expressing their points and push for their own points. So does your friend get loud at the other participants when they point out the flaw in your friend's points? Oof, that's an understatement, you say. So a desire for the conversation to go their way with a group of you and your other friends, and will attempt to change the subject when it doesn't flow in their desired direction. And when you tried to tell them about that pattern, they blew up at you. Then after that, you told them you're going to put some distance between you and them for a while. And then they reached out to you recently and said that you're not being a good friend. I figured as much. That's good that you cut them off with the gaslighting. Well, from what you've told me, it sounds like, 1, they got some chips on their shoulder. Number 2, they may lack having the discipline on genuine engagement in debates, which results in number 3, they prefer to win an argument rather than gain mutual understanding. Well, I'd say your thinking's in the right direction. Yeah, that's a legit question to ask. I oftentimes wonder, too, what a specific reason is why a person has to get the last word or win an argument. What was their answer? They said that's just how they are wired. Well, with an answer like that, I'd say again, it's those 3 cases mentioned earlier. When it comes down to it, they're addressing you as an indecent friend because you're not doing what they want. It does not sound like their argument about what you're doing constitutes any infraction to wisdom and common sense. Chances are they are in an environment where that stuff happens on a regular basis. It's basically the rule book in that environment. Plus, it seems that they've been conditioned to operate that everything is a battle, everything is a challenge, everything is a fight for survival. And in that argument they addressed about your lack of communication to fix the problem, how can effective communication happen when their comprehension is lacking? Genuine communication cannot happen between 2 parties or more when either party is not fluent in comprehension. All parties involved need to hear each other out and consider the points they all present. That's listening to understand, not just listening to reply. And what's more is what compass is being used to guide the discussion. That's okay. In this particular case, their own desires are the compass. Meanwhile, yours is common sense and reasoning. That's what it boils down to with them. But the actual compass we are to be considering is the one you are, which is the principles of wisdom and common sense. Might as well add respect while we're at it. Could be a number of reasons why your friend gets very angry when other participants disagree with them. But one of the common reasons for people in that mindset is they just want to be right. They'll even use other details that may surround the original subject but are not directly involved with it, or they'll take it to the extremes of the subject just to be right. One example of this, without getting into super sensitive territory, is the common preferences a person may have of a potential domestic partner regarding their appearance. but also understands that behavioral integrity is more important. The opposer, who has a mindset of wanting to be right, may argue asking if that person will then date someone who may be defined as super ugly and have a bag over their head to hide it and all this other particular unrealistic detail. So see how they're trying to find a way around the actual message in order for them to be right about their observation. So what it comes down to is some people are not concerned about getting to the bottom of an issue. Another thing, disagreement. It does not necessarily mean that the person hates the individual who they disagree with or doesn't like them or any of that. Plus, what they are disagreeing about may say something about their own character in some cases. In particular, our recent discussion about that time with your peers that argued a guy should not hit a girl under any circumstances, even when she is assaulting him. What did they do? They basically were ready to demonize you and ostracize you. So if you look at it in situations like that, one way to describe the person of just wanting to be right is just wanting to win the argument, just wanting to get the last word. But what good does that do for any of us, especially when we're wrong? And if you look at that example, one side was looking at things from a wisdom and common sense perspective, and they presented their point with those virtues in mind. However, the other party was going solely on their personal feelings and emotions, and therefore led themselves into denial and delusion. And we know how dangerous those can be over time. Therefore, when we have an observation on something, it's important that we consider what it's based on, whether it's facts, wisdom and common sense, or just our emotions, and which one will actually have relevance. None of us are perfect, and there is always something else we can learn. That's even more of a reason why we should hear each other out in debates and other conversations, as we may gain some details and perspectives we might not have considered before. And even in the case when someone agrees with us, that does not automatically make us right. Some people confuse that as well. There's plenty of people out there who agree with bad morals. Just watch the latest social media outlets. You notice that stuff on those platforms as well, huh? Yeah, it's a mess. Which ones in particular? I see. Well, it's a good question why people are doing that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I gotta head to work right now, but let's talk about that when I get back, all right? All right, then. By the way, any other questions about what we talked about just now? You feeling a little better about things? All right, good stuff. I'll see you when I get home, okay?